Fidler, welcome to this awesome struggle, this clash of the titans, where great minds meet and slug it out in a good old-fashioned, no-holds-barred, intellectual, wet T-shirt mud wrestling contest. Two teams ready to fight to the death to thrash out the proposition that science should get out of my genes. For the affirmative, we have the Luddites, the cave dwellers, the people who whinged when the wheel was invented because it made parking a nightmare. Paul McDermott. Kittson. And Hughes. And for the negative, we have the loved children of Dr. Frankenstein, the brave new world buffs, the scientists ready to stuff an abnormal brain into a stitched-up corpse and call it John Howard. Adam Spencer, McCrossin, and Quantock. Should we be playing God in a godless society? Should scientists attempt to rid the world of all known diseases, or should they just stick to what they do best, sucking eggs into milk bottles? Well, only you can decide. People in the front row should know that when our first speaker gets going, well, he's a bit of a spitter. Of course, this does give you the option of grabbing a sample and brewing up your very own McDermott clone. But keep in mind, they're hard to house train, and they tend to spray all over the pot plants. Arguing that science should get out of our genes is the very lovely Paul McDermott.
Science should get out of our genes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a humble man. I'm a simple man. Many people think I'm a stupid man. And hell yes, sometimes I am. I'm not exactly the brightest spark in the paddock, but I'm a human being. Just as all of us here, most of us here today are human beings. And that is what is at issue here, our very humanity. These scientists, ladies and gentlemen, these scientists over here, these scientists want to take the stem cells from human embryos so they can grow in labs the hearts they so obviously lack. Isn't that akin to eating your unborn? Yeah. Now the negative would like this to be a very rational debate. But that, of course, is what science would want. But I'm here to tell you today that this is an emotive issue, and we intend to emote. They kill babies, little babies, they kill them. They want to kill babies and experiment on babies. On June 26th of the year 2000, J. Craig Venter and Dr. Francis Collins announced they had a working draft of the human genome. A working draft! We're not making pine tables here, ladies and gentlemen. It's not changing rooms. but they have a working draft of the human genome, the genetic information that makes each one of us what we are. Science has it, the very book of life, and they have ripped it open, ladies and gentlemen, and they have laid every single one of us bare so science can probe and push and penetrate us just a little bit more. When will these men of science learn that no means no? Or not yet, or I'm sleeping. Or stop poking that thing in my back. Are there alternatives to science? Well, yes, there are. I'm glad you asked. Natural therapies from a variety of ancient cultures are proving very effective against a variety of diseases. And there are alternatives to genetic research. For instance, cloning. Why endlessly clone yourself when you don't really know who you are? You just end up with a lot of very confused clones. There is a better way of getting in touch with yourself without using cloning. Siddha yoga. Yeah, you just got to get your chakras in line, and then no matter where you are in the universe, or how many of you there are, you're always at one with yourself. And what about immortality? Now, the scientists believe that the human genome could hold the key to eternal life. But there is a better way to get eternal life. All you've got to do is walk into any church, fall on your knees and praise the Lord God and let Jesus into your hearts, and you'll have eternal life in heaven, ladies and gentlemen, next to the Lord God Almighty on the right hand of Him. And that's got to be better, because that's eternal life after you die. What are you doing? What are you?
That's what I'm supposed to do.
Ringing a bell. Ringing a bell. Is that what you're doing?
That's what I'm supposed to do.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't you do it. You ring that bell again. Ladies and gentlemen, should we let science into our genes? No. We should let Jesus into our hearts. You know I'm telling you the truth here. We should paint our own rainbows. We should follow our bliss. And we should touch the child within, but with nice touching. Nice touching. Okay? Because, ladies and gentlemen, when they touch the child within, they kill it. That's it for me. It's too emotional. I've got to go. Baby girl! Your baby killers! Your baby killers! Kill the baby! Kill them! God, kill them! Kill them! Kill the baby!
Ladies and gentlemen, the face of an angel and the genetic makeup of a speckled Albanian tree slug, Paul McDermott. Please welcome Adam Spector.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to start by saying, Mr. Speaker, I think you've been extremely fair so far this evening, and you ruled this chamber with a wit and magnanimity that is rarely seen in people in your position.
That comment will count in your favour.
Ladies and gentlemen, the hypocrisy is staggering, isn't it? Imagine, if you will, if Kerry Packer was to address this august house this evening and say, well, this whole wealth thing, I think we've gone far enough. I think there's enough of it going around, and we should just call a halt to it right now. You would understandably be disgusted that someone as wealthy as Kerry would say, well, there's all enough going round, isn't there? And it's irritating in the extreme, therefore, when a halt to genetic advances and a halt to genetic science is called upon by three such brilliant genetic specimens as are the government here this evening. For three people as genetically blessed as these to say that you and I don't deserve a slice of the genetic pie is hypocrisy in the extreme. To put it in perspective, note that Paul and I have both worn a brown shirt here this evening. Paul McDermott ends up looking like a caramel-covered sex treat. Whereas I look like an iceberg of poo. But these three perfect genetic specimens, these representations of all that God can create, can say, oh, it's all fine, none of us should be made any better by genetic technology. They represent perfection. They represent God's hand. Ladies and gentlemen, we in opposition tonight represent you. Between Quantock, McCrossin and myself, we represent the old, the ugly, the mentally slow, the incompetent, the balding and the beaten.
I just want to see who's the ball. Oh, it's you. Okay.
You can allocate those qualities amongst the three of us as you see fit. But we, ladies and gentlemen, are just as ugly, stupid and slow as all of you at home. And we would not wish that upon anyone else. That is why we say tonight, if scientists can meddle around in our genes and make our lot a little bit better, then sprinkle some of it this way, please, Professor Baby Baby. We say to you tonight that scientists must keep their hands in our genes because it is the destiny of those who live to understand life itself. All through humanity, we have been marked by our ability to take on the big questions and hit them for six. Whether it's Euclid defining the elements in geometry, Galileo understanding the planets, Newton's calculus, Maxwell's understanding of electrodynamics. If the epithet of the last century is E equals MC squared, then for this century it shall be our reading of the book of life. Ever since the Garden of Eden, when Eve stared at that cursed apple and said, does my ass look fat in this loincloth? We've asked the big questions and we've answered the big questions. And the celerity with which we as a people have done it has marked us as human beings. While apes in the last few thousand years have really only developed different ways of throwing their poo at each other, we have soared higher and further. So we say as a team, put your hands down my genes. And if that teaches you the meaning of life, then it's good for all of us, ladies and gentlemen. We say, don't listen to the scaremongers. We say, don't listen to the barbarians. We say, don't listen to the people who, when they're asked to make the big decisions about science, say, oh shit, Survivor's on Channel 9. I'll get back to you. All we say, ladies and gentlemen, as a team and as a people, my genes are open. Feel free to have a poke around.
He's the nicest iceberg of poo that I've ever tongue-kissed at a party. Adam Spencer. You know, I guess the most famous instance of genetic fiddling was with the cloning of Dolly the sheep. And why did scientists do it? Well, because they could. It was just a bonus that they were able to clean up, making identical twin porn films for the New Zealand market later on. Please welcome for the Affirmative, Kittson.
Should keep out of our genes for the same reason that our mothers should keep out of our bedrooms. Firstly, it's none of their damn bloody business. And secondly, they'll only find what they're looking for. Bonds, false passports and letters to married men in jail if mothers If scientists, genes for eating disorders, arthritis, Parkinson's, and a family tendency to go through other people's bedrooms. Now, scientists and mothers both claim that they're only doing it because they're interested in your welfare. Yes. But in reality, both mothers and scientists are only looking for evidence to hold against you. But while they're tinkering away, other scientists have come up with the much more interesting information that molecules, you know, those tiny little buggers that DNA are made of, are actually little eskies full of emotional responses and memories. This is spooky shit. You see, a study of psychoneuroimmunology. Look it up. Listen to this. This study has revealed that our cells are connected with us even when they're no longer in us. Spit still shares our energy even after we have spat it out. An experiment using a file of DNA saliva scrapings from the inside of a man's cheek was taken to a room 50 meters away. The cells in this little file then had this sensory probe thingy stuck in them. The man, 50 meters away in another room,
Felt it. Oh, sorry.
close. The man in the other room was then shown scary movies. Every time he gripped his seat or covered his eyes, his separated cells became agitated, straining to reach the remote. With no little hands. What? Isn't that so cool, baby? All genes begin when a personality is 1 or 2 or 4 cells, and they have multiple portfolios. Each cell carries random responsibilities. Now, some scientists actually know this. They know that the gene which composes symphonies might also be the gene that likes Ugg boots. But these scientists press on, trying to orchestrate the genetically perfect human. Yes, Adam, they may create a perfect you, but whose idea of perfect will they be? The scientists. These mutant perfections will be all white-coated, pointy-headed, babbling scientific geeks. A whole race of them, which has moved from feeling up your genes to cannibalism to incest in 3 generations. They'll be the only people who get the jobs, and the only ones with the right to multiply, and the only ones to get life insurance, right up to the moment when the recessive genes from that genetically modified salad or those pig valves kick in. And then the world will be populated by distinguished scientists who love line dancing when they're not licking their own balls or waving placards that read, "Mango's a murder." The world will be populated by fallible, eccentric, wayward individuals. Almost human, in fact. Well, human is what we've already got. And if we can all stand a little improvement, let's do it by living, not through the hideous process of unnatural selection. Thank you.
You know, this woman has a heart as big as a whale, and she didn't need no gene technology to get that way. Man. Please welcome Julie McCrossin.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else in between, because I know we have a lot of people in from Sydney tonight. The question is, should science get out of our genes? And the answer is, of course, no. I say the more science fiddles inside our genes, the better. In fact, Science can put its shoes under my bed any night of the week. This other team over here, I'm afraid, are scared of science. They're scared that with genetic engineering and fertility clinics making babies, that science will take over the intimate psychosexual side of our lives. And that we'll use test tubes to reproduce our genetic codes instead of good old-fashioned Aussie rooty-booty. Preferably in the back of a Holden Ute. I don't know what it is about rooty-tooty in the back of a ute, but it puts a smile on my face, ladies and gentlemen. Have no fear. Scientists have developed a chemical compound that guarantees that humans will always engage in good old-fashioned nookie. That's nookie, ladies and gentlemen. And this chemical compound is, of course, alcohol. Ladies and gentlemen, the other team, they're so worried about science, but they don't have to worry. Look, I know, they even are worried because pigs' hearts are being grown to put into humans to keep people alive. You don't have to worry about the idea of doctors fusing a pig species with a human species. Don't worry about it. What on earth is wrong with two alien species, hardly anything in common, not speaking the same language, getting it off together? Men and women have been doing it for years. Ladies and gentlemen, our team is essentially saying yes to science, yes to genes, yes to an exciting 21st century where anything is possible. In the 21st century, boys will be implanted with the washing up gene. Gentlemen, in the 21st century, gentlemen, women will be implanted with the I'll change the tyre gene. It's Christmas holidays, you've got the family of 5 packed into the Taraga. It's late at night, it's raining, you get a puncture. Gentlemen, it's the woman that jumps out of the car, she changes the tyre all alone, then she runs round the back to the boot, opens the esky and offers her man a beer before she gets back into the car. That's what gene therapy can deliver. I support it, you support it. Thank you very much.
Made up of 100% non-genetically modified canola oil and endorsed by Dick Smith, Julie McCrossin. The third speaker for the Affirmative is one of Melbourne's best stand-ups and a man who knows only too well that mixing genetic material from different species can get you into serious trouble. To argue once more that science should get out of our genes, Dave Hughes.
Hello, welcome, and thanks for having me. Now, when I was first asked the question, like, do I want to be involved in the topic, should science get out of our genes, I thought, really, I have no interest in this topic. And then, when they said there's a fee involved, I thought, I can develop a passion for this topic. And I have developed a passion because I think science and scientists are arrogant. And more than that, they think they're better than us. Really, I mean, are they so smart? Has any scientist won Who Wants to Be a Millionaire yet? Now it's time. But they want to take the mystery out of life for us, you know. For me, it's the aero bar, you know. It's the bubbles of nothing that make it something, you know. I don't want the mystery taken out of that, you know. You know, 300 years ago, we didn't even have genes. Or we didn't know we had them, and we were happy, you know. I mean, we weren't bored to death with science. We were speared and axed to death, you know. What about cloning? What's going on with cloning? Like, they've cloned Dolly. She's a sheep. And they've cloned Susie. She's a cow. They've spent billions of dollars to clone these animals. They spent no money on thinking of their names. You're going to spend billions of dollars on the clones. Don't give them names of tabletop dancers, all right? It's not right. Now they want to clone humans, and it's worrying. We know it's worrying. They've actually, recently, they passed laws outlawing human cloning. They've outlawed human cloning. All the states have done it now, but we still know it's going to go on, isn't it? There's probably people at home tonight watching this. They got the bong in one hand and the human cloning kit in the other one, right? Well, you know, They're thinking we'll have a few bongs and then we'll clone Trevor, all right? And if you're out there watching, it's not safe. I think we should have safe cloning rooms, you know? The last Royal Easter Show, they surveyed 500 people at the Easter Show, and they asked them 3 questions. One was, do you think that human cloning is okay? And 5% said yes. And then the second question was, do you think that human cloning only if to replace someone who's died is okay? And 5% said yes. And then the third question was, do you think human cloning is all right if it's just to replace, like, bone marrow to save someone from dying? And 23% said yes. Now, 95% of those people who answered those questions went and bought probably 5 or 6 Dagwood dogs, and then got on the Joy Whizzer and vomited all over themselves, all right? So, and we take... But the thing is, if we organise our genes so we're all perfect, I mean, what's going to go on? If everyone's perfect, who's going to pilot our taxis, if you know what I mean? I'm sorry about that. Well, yeah, taxi drivers are freaking me out. I did a stand-up comedy gig, and I got in a taxi, we got to the airport, got in this taxi, and the taxi, it was me and another guy, we got in the taxi, he said, what are you doing? I said, we're doing a gig. He said, where are you doing? I said, this theatre. He said, the big theatre? Are you good enough to fill it? I said, well, there's 5 seats in this cab, you've only filled 2 of them, mate. Don's gone. What's this now? Talking about genes, though, I mean, my parents, all right? My genes come from my parents, all right? My mum still lives down in the country, lives down there with her partner, who's my dad. He's a great man, Dad. Good to have you. He won't be up. He won't be up at 9:30. He won't be up. But they're great people, and their genes have come to me, all right? They're not perfect. They're not perfect at all. And they don't think I'm perfect. They give me a hard time a lot of the time. I didn't have a car. I rang up Mum down the country recently. I said, Mum, I haven't got a car, but is there a chance that I heard that you're going to pass Dad's 75 Tirana on to me? And Mum said to me, Dave, if we give you this car, we're going to have to put it in your name. I said, why? She said, we don't want parking fines turning up at this address. I said, Mum, I don't get parking fines anymore. She said, because you haven't got a car, David. You never acknowledge any of my achievements. And that's the thing, though, you know. I mean, I've talked a lot today, and some of it's been about genes, but a lot of it's been about human imperfections, you know. And if we're all perfect, none of those jokes would work, all right?
It's the little bubbles of nothing that make him something. Dave Hughes. Suppose the case for the negative. The weed killer resistant, totally biodegradable Rod Quantock.
Now, I'm for the negative. The argument is that science should keep out of our genes. So the negative is that science should be in our genes. And I had a lot of trouble coming to grips with that concept. It's a double negative, and I'm from Melbourne. And it was very, very vexed. And I actually wrote a speech supporting the argument, and you notice everybody else has come out here with notes. I've had to abandon mine entirely. And I've had the opportunity while I stand here, and it's something that you at home don't get to see, and God, what a blessing that is. Because, look, I want you, come here for a minute. Just get up, you get up there. Now, look, see these people, no, you look over there. These just randomly have a browse. We've chosen these people specifically to be here this evening because they're a random cross-section of Australian society. What do you do for a living?
I'm a student.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a student.
What do you do for a living?
Student.
And what do you do for a living?
Student.
What do you do for a living?
Student.
And what do you do for a living? And what do you do for a living? And what do you do for a living?
Student.
See, so they're just... Now, don't get me wrong. They're not all students. What are you?
A nurse.
See? There you go. That's around 99... On a survey of an average random sample of Australian population, 99% of Australians are students and 1% is nurses. So... it works out quite well, but look at them. I mean, just look at you. I mean, just look at them. If that is not an argument for genetic engineering, I have not seen one. And look, it's all right. I know. I include myself in this. And look at the panel. I mean, Adam was very nice about Paul and Jean and Dave. Really. I mean, they're not... Oh, Paul's drop dead gorgeous, but the rest of them are. And look, who wouldn't? Look, would you mind standing up for a moment? And just coming out here. Just right down there. And would you mind just sipping into that chair there? Thanks. And I'll just pull up a chair here. What's your name? Anna Marie. And your name is?
Michael.
Michael. Now, Anna Marie and Michael are on Love Rules. I'm, what's her name, McGrath. Now, tomorrow they're going to mate. Okay, because television does that to people. And when they have a child, if it's a girl, it will look like this. Now, do we really want that sort of random passing on of genetic imperfections like poor choice of glasses? I mean, if they found the gene for good dress sense, you'd be at it in a crack, wouldn't you, eh? Now, look, if you were... Please have a look. Come back here and look at that groin again. Is that a breeder? Or is that a breeder? Now, Anna Marie and I are not genetically compatible, but Anna Marie, if you could choose a baby, what would your baby have? What qualities would your baby have? No, but you can have anything. You can choose the colour of the eyes, the colour of the hair, the shape of the nose, the height, the physical stamina, what diseases you wanted to have. You could have a baby with your favourite diseases. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Are you a student?
Yes.
Yes, Well, unfortunately, there's no talking to students about these things. But look, the important issue is here that if people like this get together and have children, the result is people like that. Now, is that what we really want? And look, people this evening, these people over here have decried and degraded science. They've attacked science. Without science, they'd be doing this show with smoke signals and homing pigeons. You'd be sitting at home and Paul McDermott would be strapping his jokes onto the legs of homing pigeons and sending them out to your individual houses. 18 million homing pigeons with his script tied to their little piggy legs flying out there. And science is what brings us into your lounge room. God, what a waste of time that has been. And so we come back to genetic engineering. And I don't doubt at this moment that McDonald's is working on a gene that will synthesise fat and sugar and make it healthy for you to eat their food. And genetic engineering is a delight because it will be expensive. You won't be able to afford it. Only rich people will. And look, if they find the gene for male handsomeness, can Kerry Packer resist? It's a wonderful opportunity. We will have gene-rich people who can design their own children, and the rest of us will have diseases. We'll be dirty, grubby, smelly. Peter, the rich won't be smelly. They'll take a little snippet off the gene of a rose and put it into their genetic code, and they'll smell good. They'll have a lot of trouble with dogs pissing on them, but they'll smell beautiful, you know? And so we get to a point where we don't need God anymore. Ha, 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 we don't need you, God, because we can make our own people and we can live forever. And just think about what it would mean for men to have power over genetic coding. Men would be walking around with these enormous things going up there. See that? Me and Mercedes has got together and we made that. Oh, and when the Queen's in the country, we run a flag up that way there. That's all from there to there. That's all mine. I'm just waiting for the woman to evolve that's worthy of it. I mean, it's a great opportunity for everybody. Let's not scowl and scoff at science. Science has made us what we are today, and in the future it will make us even better. Keep Australia beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. Genetically engineer your children. Thank you.
One more chance to tamper with their opponent's argument. To present the rebuttal, the captain of the negative, Adam Spencer, followed by the captain of the affirmative, Paul McDermott. Please welcome back Adam Spencer.
What a vile calumny that has been dropped upon us here today. And it happens whenever there's a discussion of science and scientists. And how are the scientists portrayed? Oh, they're the cold, calculating basement full of geeks and losers. They're glue-sniffing, arrogant, baby-eating Frankensteins, aren't they, ladies and gentlemen? They're the sort of people who work themselves into a frothy lather over a Bunsen burner until, in a height of sexual ecstasy, they just grab abaci and start rubbing their nipples. Well, on behalf of scientists around the world, I say, so what, ladies and gentlemen? But seriously, it's so easy to put the boot into scientists, isn't it? But as ferocious disease reigns across the planet, as the Ebola virus comes knocking on your door and says, hey, it's your turn, as you're coughing up colours that even Ken Doan has never seen, who do you call? Do you reach for the medicine developed by years of hard slog and scientific research? Or do you put a call out to the Doug Anthony All-Stars? To come and sing some witty and oh-so-cutting-edge left-wing ballad to make you feel a bit better? Ebola, 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 go away. We're so awfully pretty and none of us are gay. Because there's nothing us scientists would like more than to cut you losers adrift and say, sort it out for yourselves. Oh, OK, yeah, you laughed at me when I topped the year in chemistry. Bugger it, fix your own bladder. Oh, you laughed at me when I topped the year in physics. Bugger it, build your own car then, pal. Quid pro quo. All we say as scientists is trust us. We know what's best for you. We know what's best for society, and that's because we're smarter than you are. In fact, we're smarter than you could ever hope to be. And all we're trying to do is just share a bit of the love around, ladies and gentlemen. All we're trying to do with genetic engineering is say, here's your chance to be almost as cool as us. Here's your chance to be almost as funky as Stephen Hawking. Here's your chance to be almost as crazy as Dr. Karl Krasnolnicki. All we're saying is, here's your chance to haul yourself out of the drab, mundane, pathetic lives that you live every day and become an abacus rubber. The choice is yours. All you've got to do is unzip the fly and let us nibble at your jeans for a little while. Oh, it might hurt, but it'll hurt in a good way, ladies. Say no to these genetic perfections. Say no to these angels here to spoil us and embrace the chance for a better, cleaner, genetically engineered world. We beg to propose against the topic. They kill babies! They kill babies! Now, I gotta be honest, Adam is obviously smarter than everyone here. But I'd also say he seemed to be, to me, not the brightest spark in the paddock. Slightly obsessive. Let's call him by the name, well, the title he chose for himself, the iceberg of poo. And Adam was quite right. He's been right all the way along. We are pretty well genetically perfect, I would reckon. So we got a bit of him hassling us. Then we went to the Garden of Eden. Then we went to apes, throwing their shit around. And, of course, we had Julie, rooting in a ute. And we really did save the best till last with Rod, didn't we? Let's not ask Julie how he got that name.
He's gonna pick on me.
First he went down and tried to pick up a couple of students.
He's gone into the fetal position.
I'm not surprised, because I think he knows what's about to come. Tried to pick up a couple of students. That not making the Hugh Hefner of comedy happy, he dived in the back there and tried to have a little threesome with these ugly people. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to finish now, but I just want to say that if we get control of the human genes, if we know what we're doing, humanity's just going to bland us all out. We'd make a Ford production line of humanity. Perfect people every time. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed. Is that what you want? Is that what you would like? Or would you like someone without your unfortunate head, sir? Yeah. Or what about you out the back? You'd like to have a child without those love handles in its neck? Or me, you know what I'd like? I'd like to have a child without this grotesque amount of body hair. That's not a bad thought, actually. But they are creating an evil world, ladies and gentlemen. A world where only the perfect will survive. A world where only the articulate, the intelligent, the beautiful are allowed to exist. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to show them just a brief glimpse of the world that they intend to push upon all of us. Somehow, I feel strangely attracted to every single one of you. No, actually, it's freaking me out. Because that's the world they would want, and that is a hellish world, ladies and gentlemen. That is a world that we do not want to live in, that we do not need. It is a shameful world. It's a hideous world. But there is a way out of this world. Just trust in God. Stand up, boy. Thank you very much. Hey, you walk, brother, you walk away! Oh, shit, never works. Here is Lazarus. Thank you. From the dead. Make a blind man see again. It'll save you too in times of woe. Like he saved Daniel from the lion's den. He will provide life. Livers, hearts, lungs, whatever you require, he will provide. He will provide. I said the Lord God will provide. To let science into our genes. When I say no, it couldn't be. They'll take your potato by the sea, but make them into something God and see. He will provide. He will provide. He will provide. He will provide. Deliver with a life we shouldn't have to tell. He will provide. He will provide. He will provide. He will provide. The Lord God will provide. Now it is cloning we must resist. I know it's secret, and it is this. The devil wants to clone you each and everyone to make an army of idiots. He will provide. He will provide. He will provide. He will provide. A vote for us to keep that dream alive. He will provide. He will provide. He will provide. He will provide. The Lord God will provide.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been in the presence of such staggering intellectual brilliance from our speakers. We're all going to have to sit down and watch 2 hours of Backyard Blitz to recover. Now it's up to you. By public acclaim, are the winners of tonight's debate the happy, happy, joy, joy affirmative? Or are the winners the visionary utopian Nancy negatives? I am going to have to handicap them because they used religion, which is the last refuge of a scoundrel. I'm going to hand it to the negative. Oh, booing people, put down your poor masks. Sad, pathetic creatures.
You have never got over being put in the boot in the Tarago, have you?
Sit down, little man. I'm in the middle now. Thank you and good night.